The police is still looking at it. The good news is that 15 kidnappers have been arrested. They are not the only people who have been picked up. Samuel Udotek Wills, a suspected kidnapper, has also been picked up.
Well, he has been in custody for a while.
Now, the gender minister tells us, that's Cynthia Mamle Morrison, she tells us that he says the kidnapped girls are still alive.
Okay.
So that's also something good to hear. And she says she's happy that the suspect has started speaking to the police. She herself will go and speak to the suspect. Now, these 15 kidnappers were picked up, like I said, around the eastern region, and they are being brought to Accra for further investigations. Now, these investigations are being carried out, of course, by the Ghana police. They are aided by counterparts from the US and the UK.
Okay, so that's a new development.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are in town to assist to locate the kidnapped girls. Yeah. Now, there's an interesting element of this story which is being brought in by the Daily Graphic. Good morning, Moses Doche Kobla Akrobotu, the president of the GJA in the Western region, a good friend. He says the timely intervention of the police early yesterday prevented a young man in his mid-20s from being lynched at Kujukro. Because basically, like I said, all these three kidnappings happened in a general eastern area of Takoradi. So if you drive like 10 kilometers into town, you have passed the spots where all these people lived. And these people are living in fear. So when they see strangers, they get apprehensive. They almost lynch them. And that's what happened to a young man and his girlfriend who was asking a lady who was brushing her teeth a question. And if not for the timely intervention of the police, we would be reporting possible lynching as well. So
I guess people are feeling on edge, which is understandable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
especially
it's
because
terrible.
of the so-called slow pace at which the police has moved concerning this issue. It was just last week, after speaking to Evans Mensah on Newsnight, that we were finally able to have the pictures of these girls out there. And there have been horror stories all along, from parents being at the police station and talking to kidnappers, and the policemen asking parents, so what are you going to do? So there's just a general distrust that has been created with the handling
but it shouldn't
of this
affect
story.
how we are as a people, because we are stronger than that. I think that we are stronger than living in fear. No matter what the police has done, we as individual Ghanaians, we are stronger than.
I mean, that would be
living
the
in fear.
ideal, but when your daughters are missing and it seems like it's taking this long for the simple basics to be done, then human nature will evoke, a response of fear. But
You have a point.
but
I'm
it's
just
no
saddened.
need to lash out, especially when we're not sure, because we all know what mob justice can do. And back to the church again, the Christian Council is initiating moves towards self-regulation of churches. So the Christian Council is going to hold a high-level consultation with church leaders across the country to develop a plan to self-regulate and sanitize church leadership and activities. Now, over the past few months, there have been a lot of prophecies, a lot of doom prophecies, and apparently the Christian Council is concerned because it's defaming Christianity. So what they want to do is set up a self-regulatory body to make sure that the prophecies that are coming out are kosher, as it were, and not necessarily these doom prophecies. Another angle of this is the fact that some of these prophecies are said out loud, and the question of why they cannot be had on a one-to-one level is also going to be discussed and talked about. The Executive Secretary of the Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Cyril Gershon Fayose, also has been condemning division in churches due to the power struggle, and urged that the new and old leadership of churches should come together, have a smooth transition, and ensure that there's continuity. He also spoke about other things. He talked about the ECG. He talked about what's going on in Durban over the weekend, and also condemned the current spate of kidnapping and appealing to security agency to go all out in finding the kidnapped person, and also advised Ghanaians to be alert. And last week we had Professor Kenatefa, we also had Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, we also had Dr. Angela Dramina Abuaji talking to us about staying safe on social media, being careful of putting yourself out there, too much information, and just generally being alert and aware, and also know that there are predators out there. So just be careful and do what you can, and let's continue to look out for each other. So that's that story. Daniel, what are you coming to talk about?
Government has asked
next?
8 CEOs and asked them to go on retirement by March 2019. If you've heard this story, these are the persons. Eugene Ofosu-Hine is 67, Controller and Accountants General. Maxwell Kofi Juma is 68, CEO of GEHOC, Ghana Industrial Holding Corporation. Isaac Osei is 67, CEO of Tema Oil Refinery, TOR. Kwame Owusu, 67, CEO of Ghana Maritime Authority. Kojo Owusu-Efriye, aka Sir John, 65, CEO of Forestry Commission. Anthony Nsiasari, Dr. Anthony Nsiasari, 65, Director General of the Ghana Health Service. The rest are Dr. Samolano, 64, CEO of Ghana National Health Insurance Authority, and Mr. KK Sapon, 65, CEO of Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. So they are being asked to leave office because they have passed the mandatory retirement age of 60. The Public Service Act mandates public officers to retire from public service after attaining the age of 60 and gives the president the power to extend the mandate to about 5 years. So all of these persons, if you notice, is only Dr. Samolano, who is even 64. All of these persons are heading towards 65, and I don't know how it could be that Dr. Ano would be turning 65 by March anyway. So interesting move being carried out by the president. I wonder if he's going by the Public Service Act, if he would also go by corporate governance principles and actually open for interviews when he's asking people to, when he's replacing these persons.
Right, okay. Well, we'll be watching that space. Another story that caught my attention this morning is the fact that women are heavily underrepresented in PhD studies. Now, it's been found in a survey that men are still overrepresented in doctorate degree programs. And if you remember, apparently now all lecturers at the tertiary level are supposed to have PhDs. And women, if it translates, then women will be heavily underrepresented. So at the moment, there are about 1,193 students pursuing a PhD program in public tertiary institutions across the country. 70% of that number are men. There are about 643 science students, as it were. 71.8% of that are men. I think we're not doing so bad in the humanities. 67.1% of that is also men. So really, the women are in the minority. And the fact that the women make up more than 50% of the country's population shows just how low the representation is. Also, this data shows that people are opting for science over humanities, which is good because there were 60% achieving 60% in the area of sciences as against humanities. So I guess this is really just to encourage women actually to do have PhDs, and it's tough. And the other thing is that there are not that many PhD programs here in Ghana as well. So I guess there's issues with going outside funding and all of that. So I'll be watching that story. Very interesting, and hopefully we can get more female PhD, not what's the one that they give on
honorary doctorate?
Yes, not honorary.
Not honorary doctorate degrees.
Yes,
especially the kinds that can be removed because the universities don't have accreditation.
Well, yeah.
But anyone, you should be getting a PhD. I mean, you are an astute psychologist. I mean, you are a sharp brain.
Yeah.
Look, you should go because you alone. You add like 1,000 moments to these numbers and tip the scale.
I will take that as a compliment.
Of course.
Yes,
of course. But how else would you take it?
I could take it so many other ways. That's it. Don't bring yourself this morning.
Yana is pledging with doing away with progress retarding customs. He was speaking on one of the most historic days in Ghana's history.
Yes,
one of the greatest days in Ghana's history. The 25th of January.
What is your point?
The 25th of January 2019 was a historic day in the nation's history.
Please.
As when the Yana, among other reasons, the Yana was enskinned. Yana Bukari Muhammad II, live long and rule as wisely as we know you are able to do. There's so much confidence being reposed in this man, mine as well. Now, he has pledged to work with chiefs and people of the traditional area, that's the Dagbon traditional area, to do away with antiquated customs that retard the development of the area. He says that these customs are bottlenecks in our constitutions and they're stumbling blocks to peace and development today. We must do away with them. He was speaking at his coronation. He says, I declare I shall be just and fair in the role of Dagbon. I shall do justice to all manner of people in Dagbon, whether they are Dagomba or Anufu, Asante or Kokumba, Moshi or Hausa, Abudu or Andani or Nzima. Okay, he didn't say that. I'm an Nzima. That's something that. Okay. He further noted that it was worthy to know that President Akufo-Addo had fulfilled his promise to Dagbon, saying Dagbon would eternally be grateful to him, having ensured that there is now a united kingdom. I think there's some 30 million in projects has been voted to the area.
And also the water, the ND water situation
Exactly.
as well. So that's pretty awesome. Going to go to online news review in a second. Before that, the Eastern Regional Child Protection Committee has expressed worry over children of school age indulging in prostitution in Koforidua and its environment. So a survey has been conducted, and the committee has indicated that girls between the ages of 13 and 19 have been spotted around popular drinking spots and nightclubs in weird dresses, seemingly indulgent in prostitution. They're calling on parents, especially in that region, to watch over their children and really just, talk to them about other ways of making money and not selling their bodies and getting into all sorts of trouble. So that's that story. But the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank, in your best interest, and Goyle Good Energy. It's New Year, and it's still good energy with Goyle, your reliable energy partner, enhancing your engine performance and prolonging the life expectancy of your vehicle should be a top priority. So continue to get the best quality and value for money from Goyle's Super XP and Diesel XP and trusted range of lubricants from our 360 service stations across the country. To all our valued customers, we say thank you. We value our partnership with you. Because of you, we are still number one and still CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Let's continue the partnership to build our economy. Goyle, good energy. Goyle, proudly Ghanaian. Goyle, Yenara Yedia. And you know that now you can pay and apply for your Ghanaian passport the easy way with your Zenith Bank card. Simply log on www.mfa.gov.gh, select passports, follow the prompts and pay with your Zenith Visa or MasterCard. Payments reflects real time. Now that's what we call service. Pay your passport application fee the easy way with your Zenith Bank card today. Zenith, in your best interest. And the online news is, we're starting with myjoyonline.com. Kidnapped girls. Assemblies of God Church backs rescue efforts with 14 days prayer and fasting. And yes, we know the power of prayer, and so we're grateful for that. And according to head pastor Andrew Awaite, the church has been following keenly the developments of the story with fasting and prayers. Continue to hold them up in prayer. We appreciate that. Ghana requests USA UK assistance to find the missing Takoradi girls. The Director General of the CID has revealed that a team of investigators from the US and the UK are joining the search. Daniel brought us that story earlier on. The BBC.com says Bashir says Sudan protests attempt to copy Arab Spring. Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir has said their efforts to destabilize his country through an attempt to replicate the so-called Arab Spring. You can check out the BBC.com for that story. So Daniel, just before I let you go, this morning we're talking about secularism and how it has come into the church. So we're talking about secular music, we're talking about fornication, adultery, and all those things. What's your take on it? What do you think?
I think it's a doctrine is very unique when it comes to church, and a lot of different church organizations have different views on this. So, faith is something that we approach on a very personal level, and when what your church says is not even in line with what you believe, it's dangerous. So I just think that, it's a sensitive issue. People have different views about it. I'm curious to hear what views we will hear about it, but then personally, I think faith is a personal affair, but we must respect the church.
Right, okay. And that's the voice of Mr. Daniel Dazit, host of the Super Morning Show. He'll be back in his chair tomorrow, God willing. Thank you very much, Daniel, for joining me on the news review. I'm going to take a few messages and then we go straight to the BBC.